I don't even know how to start this one. Hi, it's me, Alex. Hasn't been long since we last talked. I've never made a spontaneous video like this before, but I knew that I had to talk about this. For those of you wondering what I'm yapping about, I'm a big fan of the game My Singing Monsters. And around a month ago, I made a tier list on every song in the My Singing Monsters series. Now, I knew this video would age, seeing as My Singing Monsters is actively updated. But I never expected that my tier list video would take a blow this hard in one update. And so, I'm going to be talking about this update, alongside a few previous ones, to see how they affect my ranking. Let's follow up on my Singing Monsters tier list video.
My voice is higher than your voice.
My voice is higher than your voice.
Before we get into this update in particular, I wanted to touch up on some previous ones, which took place in the prequel game My Singing Monsters Dawn of Fire. These updates added Mimic and Punkleton to the continent, and in Mimic's case, to Cave Island. I already gave my thoughts on Mimic in my first episode of After the Video, but to recap the recap, I enjoy its inclusion. It's nothing impressive musically, but the concept of a monster playfully mimicking another monster is a good one. Do I wish that concept was explored further? Yeah. There's a comment in its baby bio that once the Mimic is a little older and its eggshell has been cast off, watch out. But its sound is not that much more impressive as an adult. I think Mimic's in a unique position where the sections it plays in are empty as is, so you're losing more than you're gaining by muting or not having a Mimic on your islands. However, even my favorite islands are guilty of sounding crowded, so I couldn't blame someone for preferring an island without a monster that I personally like. As for Punkleton, they sound great. They're not pulling their seasonal shanty bullshit. They sound exactly the way they should. It does suck that they're confined to the continent for some reason, but for what it's worth, they're a welcome inclusion. Really excited to hear what the other seasonals will have to offer. In terms of the ranking, the continent can't really get any higher, but maybe we'll see another island take its spot later in the video. This is the big one. After over a year without a new island, the monster handlers announced Ethereal Workshop as the 22nd island in My Singing Monsters, excluding the Mirror Islands, Composer Island, and the Colosseum. Whereas Ethereal Island houses the single and double element ethereals, Ethereal Workshop houses the triple and quadruple element monsters. The island's incomplete as of this video's release, but the first 5 monsters certainly set the bar high. Yurik and Blair are great vocalists. Gadzooks is a solid percussionist. Ogler is just ethereal. And Meebkin, while not my favorite, delivers a very unique sound that I couldn't imagine the island without. As of right now though, the island suffers from being a little short, which is crazy because this verse has no right being only 2 sections long. I don't want to sound like I'm downplaying the composer's work, but I typically listen to my own rendition of Ethereal Workshop just for that verse extension. But outside of that, I'm really looking forward to seeing how Ethereal Workshop evolves. I'll place it on my tier list for completion's sake later in the video, but keep in mind that it'll be subject to change. Here we are, the big update. If you were to ask me what I expected out of this update a couple days prior, I would have predicted the Wubbox on Fire Oasis, Rare Spirit, and the Wordos on Fire Haven. Hooray. Well, guess how fucking wrong I was, because we didn't get most of that. Instead, we got an expansion update. Take notes, PopCap, there's still 5 worlds left. And so, Fire Expansion was released, giving us, get this, 13 fire monsters across Fire Haven, Psychic Island, Fairy Island, Bone Island, and Light Island. That's insane, and not a single My Singing Monsters fan expected this. Some of these placements are a little confusing though. I don't know if there's a lore reason as to why certain monsters are on whichever island, or a logical one. Come to think of it, I'm not even sure how you're supposed to breed them if these islands don't house their—
Oh my goodness! Squidward!
I am so happy to not have to play this game in order to create content about it. You have no idea how tempted I am to reuse the opening of Firehaven from my tier list script. Song-wise, I don't get the hype around Firehaven. It's not a bad song, and it has a solid selection of monsters, but nothing about it keeps you from coming back to it. And now that this island's quint monster, Candelabra, has arrived on Firehaven, I can't say that my opinion's any different. It's no surprise that my take on Firehaven was, ironically, a hot one, but I'm a little disappointed that my take remained the exact same. Does Candelabra sound good? Well, I'm actually not a fan of how their voice was synthesized, but they don't sound bad. However, that's as far as my opinions on Firehaven go. It's not a bad song, but it just doesn't click for me the same way it does for everyone else. And it's not like my takes are that unconventional either. After all, I put Party in D and Sanctum in S. But at the same time, I don't think I'll ever place Firehaven above B. Additionally, Psychic Island was not an island I regarded very highly in my tier list video, which came as a shock to a lot of people. It's a strong percussion island with some good monsters, don't get me wrong, but as the first magical island, every other one has so much more going for it. However, as of the Fire expansion update, Psychic Island got a whole lot better. Fire expansion added Bisonoris, Edamimi, and Bowhead to Psychic Island. Now, I like these monsters just fine, but I didn't really see what they'd add to the song. And I was right, they didn't add a lot. But then Bowhead kept playing and I was like, shit, okay. Yeah, Psychic Island sounds a lot more complete. Bisonoris and Edamimi do their thing, but Bowhead's the real star of the show. Going from playing Quadrice in a 3-minute song to playing the whole damn song. And it sounds good. Seriously, I've listened to Psychic Island more times today than I have since the island was completed in 2019. And I think that's quite telling. I'll save the ranking till the end, but I can confidently say that Psychic Island's moving out of B tier. Man, how do they do it? How do they keep making this song better and better? I'm gonna say it right now, Fairy Island secured the most from this update. Fire expansion added Krilby, Pongping, and Tusky to Fairy Island, and that is a monstrous dub in my book. Even if Tusky looks like concept art, Tusky and Krilby are monsters I'm a big fan of. But Pongping? Well, believe it or not, Pongping is a monster that I really want to like. Throat flicking has such a simple sound to it that should be hard to mess up. But on most islands, Pongping is either overwhelming or underwhelming. However, Fairy Island strikes the perfect balance with them. I love the rhythm of their flicks, it's so subtle but it sounds so good. As for Tusky and Krilby, yeah, this goes without saying. Gulp, here goes nothing. Bone Island is still arguably the most popular of the magical islands, but I do find it to be a bit overrated. However, does the expansion update keep my impression on Bone Island intact? Yes. Fire expansion added Flamox, Incisaur, and Gnarls to Bone Island, and I'm not entirely sure how to feel about them. Let's start with the least offensive of the three. What can I say? That's a Vibra Slap, alright. To be fair, they had a nice kick to their verse, Certainly more than on Amber. Gnarls also sounds pretty good, if not a bit offbeat. At least, I hope they're offbeat, because I do not want to get accustomed to this. As for Flummox, they feel out of place. Not bad, but not worth having if I'm being completely honest. Why Flummox isn't on Light Island over Yelmet is beyond me considering their styles of singing. Oh, speaking of. Light Island. The boring one, the empty one, the repetitive one, the one with the underwhelming seasonal event, and the least popular of the magical islands. Man, what a contrast. If you want to know my long-winded opinion on Light Island, feel free to check out the ranking video. But to make a long story short, I don't mind Light Island, and I'm excited to see what the expansion has to offer. Fire expansion added Tiawa, Yelmet, and Dromedary to Light Island, and what a risk that was. Tiawa and Dromedary prove that they can work on a calmer island, albeit a lot less memorably. But Yelmet, for a lullaby? For the first time ever, I was on the fence about Light Island. Maybe they were trying to make up for Light Island's reputation in the community. Maybe they were evolving from the song's original vibe. Maybe this is what ruins it for me. But then I heard them. They complemented the vibe, they added something new, and they complemented the island's monsters. Is it a little different? Yeah, just a bit. But do they stay true to what Light Island is? Yes, they do. And they sound great. I have nothing more than respect for Light Island. It's still not my favorite song, but I'm delighted to say that it isn't moving anywhere on my tier list. Once again, good job, Light Island. Well, that got a little emotional. Fire, magic, and the continent aside, I thought I'd share a couple changes in opinions that have developed since the release of my tier list video. Let's go over them real quick.
Then the lava spews out, the fire grows tall, the eruption!
In ranking Air Island as early as I did, I think I underestimated how much I actually enjoy it. Same goes for Water Island, but not to the same extent. And in the opposite fashion, I think I overestimated how much I actually like Earth Island. It's still a good island, but compared to Air, there's a lot more that I dislike about Earth than I like. I'll definitely be moving these three natural islands around. As for the magical islands, Psychic, Fairy, and Light are moving up, whereas Bone is staying about the same. I also might shift around the outer islands from Dawn of Fire that are in A tier. And finally, I'll be naming the tiers, because a lot of people seem to think that I didn't like any island under A tier, despite the fact that there's no F tier for a reason. But now, to reveal the revamped tier list. And there you have it, my definitive My Singing Monsters tier list. Series reference, you may now laugh. I was not expecting to follow up on my tier list video for a long while, but it seemed like fate had other plans. Other video rushing, time crunching plans. Still, I hope you enjoyed this video for what it was. I don't do short uploads like this very often, but maybe I'll break into it as time goes on. If you want to watch my ranking video, feel free to check the video card above or the description. Let me know your thoughts on this video and the Fire expansion update in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Hey guys, I heard how people were wondering if I wanted to make fan content for My Singing Monsters, so I thought I'd introduce my goofy character as a monster. Okay, I've never done this before, so tell me what you think of this for his noise. It's really cool. Check this out. Ready? Here we go.